If there is any stuck point or anyone, anything is difficult to understand, please stop me and ask me questions. So now different kind of data modeling. Um, Generally, we have star schema and snowflake schema. Any one of the approach we can follow for creation of data model. So in a star schema, let me show you the diagram how star schema looks like. Okay. So star schema should be looking like this. There should be fact table in middle and all the dimensions should be surrounding it. The same kind of thing we have seen in last day as well. Generally, we took the example of star schemas only that time. Just like a central fact table is there, just like called sales table, it's a fact table, and we have different dimensions, just like store dimension, payment type dimension, product dimension, customer dimension, time dimension. So those are dimension, and this is a fact. The same relationship we can set up to join between fact table and dimension table. It's looking like a star because all the dimensions are surrounded by single fact table, and it's a very simple approach for the data modeling. Okay, so this is called star schema setup. Now there is a complex thing actually for the present. I mean, now the business scenario in when we are live in a particular project and all, there is not only this many dimensions. There are lots of dimensions are required, and there is not such specific relationship between fact and dimension. If this is the scenario, then we need to go ahead with snowflake schema. So what is snowflake schema? Let me go ahead with the pictorial diagram. Yes. So in this pictorial diagram, you can see just like the brand is a dimension, product is a dimension. Okay, if this is the scenario, brand do not have a direct relationship with the fact table. Brand has direct relationship with the product table. Okay, then we cannot set relationship with the brand category. I mean brand dimension and fact table. So this scenario you can see it's getting splitted from the dimension itself. Okay, so they're joining between brand ID. Maybe product code is also there in the brand table. Based on this product code, they are getting joined. The same thing for category. For category ID, it's not directly touching this particular fact table. Category is directly getting splitted from the brand table or product table. Anything can be done. Okay. But when we are just, I mean, in the present scenario or practical scenario, there are lots of dimensions we require. Want to get it separated from the dimension itself because there is a, I mean, there is no direct relationship for a particular fact or measures value with that particular dimension. Rather, the dimension is required for reporting purpose for some scenarios and all, but there is no direct relationship between this dimension and fact table. Okay, so this kind of design is called snowflake schema. It's not a star schema. It's a bit complex, but in practical scenario, we can see this kind of thing much more than star schema. Okay. Check the things once more time from your side. The difference between star schema and snowflake schema in data modeling. This is the question. And the question is very much asked by the interviewer when you are going to give an interview for data engineering. They always ask the difference between star schema and snowflake schema. Okay. Now I'm going to the concept. I mean, this is the concept of ETL. Extract, transform, load. It's very, very important thing because lots of developers worked on ETL. They're working on ETL. What is ETL? ETL is just like I told the last day. It's a job. I mean, kind of job we can say. It can be done daily basis or the hourly basis based on the data frequency to be load from source system to target system. Source system means the OLTP system and target system means the data warehouse. Okay. So ETL means extract, means I'm extracting the information from our source system. Transform, we are transforming the data. Okay, in between. So in between we are transforming, there can be a staging layer, I told. Maybe a staging layer should be there. Staging layer means maybe we have multiple source system. We are getting multiple source system for various sources. So those source systems data we are collecting in a single staging area first. Then we are going ahead with the cleansing and transformation operation on top of that before loading the data into data warehouse. So transformation is the main part. After extraction, all we have to do is only transformation of the data, and loading part. We'll be loading the final transformed data to data warehouse. We need to prepare the data warehouse data such a way that there should not be any issue for the visualization team. Suppose a particular source data, a fact value is there, a measures value is there, okay, but the measures value are getting entered in varchar format. It's just like 1234.67. This kind of data is there, but in source system, this data is defined as a varchar. But if we populate the same data in data warehouse with the varchar format, if directly it's going to the visualization team, they need to design the same particular value as a measure, okay, because they need to aggregate the thing. Maybe they are aggregating the thing top based on a particular dimensions and all. So if this is the scenario, then they will not be able to aggregate this because the particular measures value, it's not a proper measures, it is a varchar. So in the transformation part, we need to check all those things what the visualization team will require. Or maybe by checking the fact and dimensions DDL part, you can check the DDL, each columns, data type, data length. So we need to think about the same thing, and we need to go ahead with the transformation part, the data type conversion in the transformation itself. We'll be converting the data type from varchar to integer or floating point. Okay, over there only. The things are understandable. Okay, this is a very important topic. Let me just quickly open. Okay, let me cover up this topic. I didn't cover how to convert the data type. Okay, there is, I mean, we can convert in SQL. We can easily convert the data type from varchar to integer or integer to varchar whenever it's required. Suppose there is a value, suppose ABC. So there is no point to convert this ABC to integer. But sometimes, uh, I mean, a particular value is given, a particular value is looking like a numerics, but it's not exactly numeric. Okay, it is varchar in nature. So that thing needs to be converted into numeric one. So then it should be required. Okay, suppose from varchar to date, while learning the date data type, you might have seen that for a particular database, they are having their own or default date format. Suppose over here, whatever date data type I'm receiving or date we are receiving, that is not the default format for the target date. So we need to check what is the default date data type for the target, because when we'll be just keeping the same date from here to here, it can be treated over here as a character value. Okay, so that is why in between transformation, we need to check what is the default date format of this database, and in the transform part, we need to transform the same over here. Please repeat ETL. Okay, ETL is required for data loading from source to target. On the first day of BI, I told that we need to load the data from source system. Source system means OLTP system. Okay, OLTP system to our target, because in OLTP there is unclean data. Whatever transaction level user is sending the data, we are just keeping this thing in OLTP. If people directly or visualization engineer directly create their reports charts and graphs on top of this OLTP, it should not be properly done because we do not know the cardinality. We do not have the fact and dimensions. Everything is not segregated over here in OLTP database. So that is why we need to convert the data. We need to extract the data from here. We need to convert the data in proper manner, and we need to store the data in meaningful way in our target database, that is called data warehouse. Okay. So this entire process can be done by ETL. ETL means extract, transform, and load. The short form is called ETL, or sometimes it's called as well ELT. ELT generally the usage is less than ETL. They are doing the loading part, then they are transforming in data warehouse itself. They are loading in data warehouse, then whatever transformation is required, they are doing this thing in uh, target database as well. This is called ELT system. Some of the project you might have seen, you can check the ELT process, but as of now, ETL is the main focus, and generally, most of the project they follow ETLs only. Okay. Let me show one more thing before going to the next slide. So in the market, we can see there are lots of ETL tools are available. Okay. Just like Informatica, Power Center, IBM Data Stage, Ab Initio. For SAP, this is one of the ETL tool. Cognos, Microsoft. There are lots of database. ETL tools are available. Oracle, SAS. So each of the project they might have take the license from each of the product vendor. IICS, that is Informatica Cloud. I think you might have heard about this terminology. This is very much popular ETL nowadays. Talent. Talent is one of the important ETL tool. Nowadays, you can also hear about these things. So, based on the requirement, the particular efficiency of the ETL tool, the costing of the ETL tool, because this ETL tools licensing is very high, very costly. So, a project need to determine which ETL tool needs to be used. Okay, so it's totally dependent on the architecture or the product owner, which particular product they will be using over there. Because as I told, the high licensing pricing, even the license needs to be renewed maybe yearly or maybe 6 months. So based on that, they will choosing one of the ETL tool, but the main functionality is same. Okay, but each of the ETL tool should be having their own, user interface, or just like this, the same kind of, particular data stage is having their own interface, and Informatica should be having their own interface. So some, you can see people are just when entering a project, they are just getting interested on top of a particular ETL tool, and they're, going expertise on top of that, and they're becoming expert on top of that, and they are giving interviews for the other, I mean, uh, accounts or other companies with the expertise of the only on top of the same ETL. Okay, one more information. So nowadays, lots of projects they're also trying to using some open source language to create a ETL tool for their own company. Okay, just like Python, they can use Python or Java as an open source language and use the same language to create a framework, ETL framework. Okay, when the framework is done, when the framework is been created, then they're just sending the parameter or metadata information, and they're going to connect with database and extract the data from source systems and loading the same thing at the target system. So that is the thing. Nowadays, they're not using licensing. This is as per, the project owner or product owner, what they are referring. So they are not using this kind of product vendor. They are creating their own framework first. When the framework is ready, then their ETL is ready. and they are going ahead with loading the data from source to target by this ETL tool. Okay, this is nowadays, I mean, one of the popular approach they are going ahead. They are using Python, they are using some big data, they are using Spark, or they are using some other thing. Those are open source. No much, I mean, they do not have to create any license for the ETLs and all. They're just creating the framework on top of some serverless operation in AWS, in cloud, or maybe a different approach. Maybe for big data, they're introducing uh, Databricks. They're creating some clusters. They have to give the money on top of clusters. Clusters means, uh, I mean, a bunch of computers. Okay. They're giving money on top of these clusters, those servers only, but nothing more than that. For the languages are open sources. So they're creating their frameworks by those languages and doing the ETL part. Okay. So those are the important thing on top of it. Yes. Now the loading strategy I'll be telling to you. Please let me know if there is any stuck point. So data extracting method. So actually ETL tool, when, I mean, by the ETL, we can create the jobs. Okay. A particular job will be responsible for a single table to load data from source system to target system. Or maybe multiple tables we can load by a single job from source system to target system. Suppose the concept should be such like this. Today we received some source data from the source table. If we, I mean, we need to design our ETL job first. We need to develop it. The job should be residing somewhere, some place, some server, and we need to run the job daily basis so that the ETL job will take the data from the source system and push it to the target system. Because whatever sale data I'll be receiving today at my morning time or at my business hours, the same thing I need to load in my data warehouse. Generally, we do that at the non-business hours so that at the very next day morning time, the business user can see the updated data from the source system into the dashboard. Okay, in the data mart as well, in the dashboard as well. Some of the business users, they do not have very much criticality. They load the data at the month end only. Based on month end or based on quarter end, some of the users needs their data to be refreshed at the quarter end only or month end only, because their business is not so much critical. They're having criticality, but within the month they do not take any decisions to change the strategy within days. So that is why they are checking the data after month end. So the job will be running, means the data should be refreshing from source to target at the month end time. So ETL job needs to be scheduled as well, at which time it should be running daily basis. Because when we are developing the project, when the project is been done, it's been developed, the jobs are being scheduled at a particular time, then the project will be handed over to the support team, because the no more development work should be there and the thing should be handed over to support team will be checking whether the jobs are running fine daily basis, whether the data loads they're, I mean, getting refreshed properly from the source system to target. For that thing there should be a support team. They'll be checking all those stuffs. Okay, and this is called production support. In production, if there is anything is going wrong, suppose a particular data is not been carried by a ETL tool from the source system due to some issue at the ETL side or maybe the job designing side, then the production support team need to check that thing and they need to rectify that thing. If there needs a change, I mean big change required, then the development team will be coming over here again and they will change the development. Okay, so by this way, the project should be going. Now, while extracting the data from the source system, they will be doing daily basis a full refresh. Okay, full refresh means suppose today we received, today is the first day of our ETL. I just completed the development part of the ETL yesterday night. So today is the first day our ETL should be running and loading the source data to target. So my target table is now empty and source table is having suppose 100 of records. So what full refresh will do? Full refresh will just refresh the full table from source to target. If a full refresh just we started the full refresh, then all the 100 records will be pushed, they will be transformed and they will be pushed to the target. The same thing in the second day, suppose we have now at the source side there are 120 records. Full refresh will be doing the full refresh again. It will be pulling all those 120 records from the source system. They'll be transforming it and they'll be loading the same at the target. That is called full refresh. What is incremental data load? Incremental data load means uh, just like I told the example, the first day we have 100 of records. We loaded the same thing for first day. That is fine. But the second day we have 120 records. Okay. So the records are not deleted. The old records are not deleted. But the new records may come. Maybe they have updated some existing records or a new inserted record has been inserted. I mean, the new record has been inserted. Anything could be there. And in a particular table, there must be a column called maybe data update date, a particular timestamp where the particular record is getting inserted at the source system, or maybe a update timestamp should be there in the same table, which is mentioning a particular timestamp the column has been updated. I mean, the particular record has been updated. If we have this kind of scenario, we can go ahead with incremental data load. This is very much efficient. Suppose first day we have 100 records, the second day we have new 20 records, that is 120. So in the second day, we will not be going ahead with the full refresh anymore because full refresh will take lots of time. Why daily basis we will be doing full refresh? Rather, we can go ahead with incremental data load. For the second day, when loading the data, we will be checking what are the new records arrived at the source system. The 20 records are the new records. Okay. Those 20 records will be picking up from the source system, will be transforming it, and will be loading the same at the target system. This is how incremental data load works. Okay, let me give you some example. I'm opening some Excel sheet. Okay, yesterday I was showing you the employee table. Let me take this thing. I think for full refresh, there will be no issue. Full refresh means we can directly take the data from source side and pushing the same thing at the target side. But for incremental data load, there should be two options. I mean, just like ID should be there. This is the primary key of employee ID. Emp name. Suppose designation that we showed yesterday. Designation. And for incremental data load, there should be a metadata column called create timestamp or update timestamp. Let me take update timestamp. This is a metadata column. When loading the data from source system to target, this update timestamp will be capturing when the record is getting inserted. The update timestamp should be just, it will be keeping that time, that is the system timestamp. So exactly what is the time the record is getting inserted at the source side? A system timestamp should be captured over here. Okay, suppose one employee name is suppose ABC. Suppose it's trainee. Update timestamp, I can just put this time 6th, or maybe let me put in the same manner 06 or 10/06 month DD y. Then timestamp I need to also put 0631, maybe 25. So this is my timestamp. Similarly, to BDW associate, just updating this thing to 32 because the timestamp is 32. Okay. So at the first day we have these records only. It's getting loaded successfully, and for the first day when the ETL is just going to complete it, when the extraction is going to complete it, there should be a field in ETL side which should be capturing the maximum update timestamp they have taken for this day. Okay, that is how the incremental logic should work. ETL is having that capability. We can create a variable inside the ETL which will be consisting the value of the maximum update timestamp of the day they have taken the record, because by this value only they can identify which are the new records. Suppose these records got updated again the very next day. One ABC training, the very next day, 7th, it's getting updated. Suppose associate, from training to associate. We have new records as well. Senior associate, update timestamp, we can put 10, 7, 2023, 06, suppose 40. On the very next day, it stored that value in some variable. So on the very next day, when the job should be running, it will be checking the variable value and it will be checking what are the records whose update timestamp is greater than this. Then they will be identified these two row. They are having the update timestamp greater than the previous day's data loading update timestamp. Okay, so they'll be picking up only these two records and they'll be going ahead with the incremental data load or incremental extracting. I'm not going to data load till now. I'm just going ahead with the extracting process, full refresh or incremental. Okay, so this is how the incremental data loads works. It is very much helpful because in the in the present scenario or practical scenario, we can see at the source system for the banking or insurance, there may be lakhs of records for each day's transaction. So if daily basis we are doing the full refresh, suppose today we have 1 lakhs, tomorrow we have 2 lakhs, the day after tomorrow we have 3 lakhs. This way we should be having millions, billions of records. So if this is the scenario, daily basis full refresh, it will take lots of time and the time would be increasing day by day. Okay, the entire data load in the ETL, you can see for a particular table, it's taking more than 30 minutes. Maybe after 30 days, the time will be more than 1 hour, just like this, if we go ahead with the full refresh. So that is why we can go ahead with this method. We can only take the incremental value. Means what are the new records? We just need to take this thing. Then our time should be saved. Okay. But suppose our record got deleted from the source system. Suppose source system is taking the strategy. This employee doesn't have any record, or this employee left the company, we can delete this thing. If this is the way that source system is deleting the record and source system doesn't have any such column update timestamp, if both of the scenarios are there, we cannot go ahead with the incremental data load because we cannot able to identify which records comes new. We can get into touch with the based on employee IDs as well. If the employee ID is a incremental operator is there, 1, 2, 3, in the very next it should be 4, 5. If this is also been maintained properly, then we can also go ahead with this kind of data as well. But any of the record should not be dropped. If the record has been dropped from the source system, But the target, it should not be dropped, because in target we are not dropping the data at the incremental. During the loading part, we will be learning the same. Still now any issue while learning the full refresh and incremental data load from anyone? Full refresh and incremental data load. I hope no issue. Okay, moving to the next topic. This data loading strategy. This is data extracting method. Means we are extracting from the source system. Now we will be loading the thing at the target system. Okay. So first option is truncate load. While going ahead with full refresh, if we take all the data from the source system, then first we need to clear all the records of the previous day at the target table first, because we do not have to keep history. We will be refreshing full from the source to target. Okay. We just need to go ahead with the truncate load that time. Means I need to truncate the target table and we need to load all the record from the source system to target. So truncate load is applicable for full refresh only. Full refresh extracting method, truncate load should be there. Truncating the thing and load the thing. But for the incremental data load, okay, incremental data load, we need to go ahead either insert or update insert method. When insert will be required, suppose in the same record, I told you with the example of this, in the same record, they are not going to update. There is no update strategy at the source system. They are going to, there was trainee, senior associate. I'm not modifying the same thing. Some value should be there. So for the new user, I mean the user whose designation has been updated, it was 6. This trainee's data has been updated and I'm changing their employee IDs too. Suppose 4. ABC, trainee should be associate. In the very next day, 7. So if this is the scenario, generally it's a awkward thing. If an employee joined at the company, his employee ID is same throughout his career. This is the scenario generally. But if this is the scenario, if the particular person's designation got updated and he received a new employee ID. So a new, specifically, we are not updating an existing record. If a updatation is required at the source system, we are going to create a new row for that particular user. If this is the scenario, then we can go ahead only insert method. Means at the target side, we'll be picking up what are the new records. We'll be simply inserting it. Okay. But generally, this is not the scenario. We should be having the existing record should be updated. Okay. Then we should be going ahead with the update insert called, it is also called upsert method. So at the target side, it will be checking what are the new records got inserted and what are the existing record got updated. So based on that, while doing the incremental data load or delta load, anything we can say for incremental, suppose 20 new records or 20 records we received while comparing the updated timestamp. So they will be checking if inside those 20 records, if there is any matching primary keys are there at the target. Means if the primary key is matching, means the primary keys already existed at the target system. Something has updated, some attributes have updated respective that primary key. Respected that primary key, then we need to update the record accordingly. So that is called update. And if there is totally brand new primary key, means new record should be inserted. So you need to go ahead with update and insert method. data loading. That is called upsert as well in short form. Okay. Any doubts so far? This is a bit conceptual. They can ask question, what is upsert data load? When we will be going into the insert data load or append, it will also call it, you can also call insert as append. When we'll be going ahead with the append data loading strategy, when you'll be going ahead with update insert strategy, they can ask the question. Things are clear for everyone? Okay, I hope yes. If no, if there is any stuck point while learning the thing, please ask me the question. I'll be happy to clear the doubts. Uh, if the things are getting complex or maybe mm, it's not very much interested, I'll be trying to show this thing when learning the Python as a ETL tool so that you can have a clear picture of each kind of loading strategy that time. Okay. Then concept should be much more clear. If it's not clear now, please ask me. I'll be trying to clarify the same thing by Excel. If this is clear, that is fine. And maybe while learning Python, I'll be going ahead with the hands-on part. Okay. So this is how ETL works. Those are the different strategies and all how ETL should work. Now, ETL will be loading data at the target site that I mentioned in form of fact and dimension tables. Now it's time for the visualization engineer to work with those fact and dimension. As per the data modeling, they will be joining this thing, the fact and dimensions, and they can create the OLAP, a particular single view or single table with having all that columns, containing all that columns. Okay. So when they have a ready-made of this thing, they can create charts and graphs on top of this. So when creating charts and graphs, they need to think about the KPIs. KPIs means, while creating the charts and graphs, they need to ask someone, correct? What kind of charts and graphs they need to see? They want to see the 5 years revenue in a line chart. A line graph should be there, whether it's incremental or decremental. Whether the business is incrementing in nature, revenue is incrementing in nature or decrementing in nature. So, what are the things? They need to decorate the things through KPI. Okay, this is called KPI. KPI is the visualization clue that communicates the amount of progress made towards a goal. Okay, let me go to the next slide with the examples of KPI. KPIs can be differentiated by quantitative KPI, qualitative KPI. Quantitative KPI means sales growth, quarterly revenue, followers growth. Qualitative means customer satisfaction index, product quality, service quality. If a company's goal is to have a fastest growth in the industry, its main KPI may be the measures of revenue growth year on year. So in the x-axis, there should be year as a dimension, and in a y-axis, they should be having a measures called revenue. Okay, they'll be checking this growth graph curve. Okay, so this is how they just need to know the KPI's name, and they will be designing the charts and graphs their own way at the dashboard side. Even some people are working as a ETL developer or ETL support member. Some of you can also take this thing as your expertise skill. Visualization engineer. They can also call the data analytics. They are also inside the data analytics part itself. They're doing the data analysis on top of fact and dimensions. So some of the person, just like I told, they can take one of the ETL tool and get expertise on top of that ETL tool. That is fine. Some of them can be expert on top of any visualization tool. They can take the dimensions, facts from the source side. Source means their source is the data warehouse. Okay. Their source is not OLTP system. Their source is data warehouse. So they are creating, they are taking data from data warehouse and they are creating those charts and graphs. Their target is the dashboard. Okay. So nowadays people are also getting certified with particular visualization tool, just like Tableau, just like Click, just like Microsoft. For Microsoft, there is a new tool called Power BI. So they're also getting certified with such of the tools. They're getting expertise of that tool, and after getting expertise means they're quite habituated with the UI part. The concept is same for each and individual visualization tool, but there is lots of different between the UI, user interface. Expertise means you are quite habituated with the UI handling of that particular tool. Okay. So once you are accustomed with one of the particular visualization tool, you can get a job quickly on top of with that visualization tool only. Okay. Okay. Here is some terminologies I'll be presented. How the dashboard should looks like over here. Here is one of the report I have collected. So you can see this is called bar chart or bar plot. In the x-axis, you can see there are two dimension. I have taken two dimension at the x-axis. One is zone, another one is called year. Okay, so you can see for each of the group there are 3 years involved. 3 years, and those are grouped in zones, and the revenues are mentioned over here. So over here from the OLAP system, we just took two different dimensions in the x-axis and one measures called revenue at the y-axis. And this is how the plot should work. Okay. Now in the particular KPI creation, there may be this kind of scenario that I need to put multiple dimensions, maybe 4 5 dimensions, only one measures. So we need to check which particular plot is suitable for that particular example. Okay. So there are lots of plotting type, just like pie chart or pie plot, pie plot, line plot, scatter plot, box plot, heat map. Okay. Just like bar plot. So the same bar plot, I can just convert the thing with x-axis and y-axis. So this lots of techniques are there, lots of charts are there. So you need to determine which a particular KPI is suitable for which particular chart. So this is one of the important thing the visualization engineer need to think about. Okay. Some more examples I just keep in snaps. OLAP, on top of OLAP features, it's pivot table. We have this data earlier. I need to convert the data in this manner. So this is called pivoting feature. I can do the same thing in Excel as well. Okay. So they're doing nothing, just they're transposing it. Over here, they have one single dimensions. Even a simple list report means a particular Excel reports. We can take multiple dimensions over here. Over here, you can see there are 4 dimensions we are representing in a single chart. This kind of chart is called list report over there. There are 4 different dimensions in a single chart. Okay. Over here, we have 2 dimensions, one fact. This is year dimension. This is city dimension. And this is our fact data, sales value. We are just pivoting it. The particular, it's called the matrix transpose as well. We are transposing the thing from city from this axis to this axis and year things from this axis to this axis. This is called pivot or cross tab. Cross tab is also similar, just like pivot table. Okay, some terminologies just like slice and dice. Over here we are using a 3D plot, 3D bar plot. Okay, having two dimension in x-axis and y-axis, and in the z-axis only measures are there. In x-axis we have city, in y-axis we have years, and the z-axis we have sales. That is the measures value. Now what is called slice? Slice means if you just filter on top of a particular dimension. In the visualization tool, we have the options to putting filter operation. Just like in SQL, what we are doing by putting where clause. Over here, we have the opportunity to choose a particular thing from that particular filter. So just like I have chosen a filter on top of sales 2009. After choosing the filter, only this kind of plot I'll be seeing. This means we are slicing the data. That's it. What is dicing? If we just filter on top of a two dimension itself, it is called dicing. So over here, I have chosen the cells on top of city as well as year. Then the chart, it's a subset of this data. This is called dice. This is just like simple terminology. The owner, product owner can say in the KPI, just have this slice and dice part. So you need to choose the filter pane such a way that there should be city filter as well as some year filter as well. So that when the dashboard is live, the particular business user, they can choose the city filters as well as the years filters as well. So this is the thing. If you do not know what is dice, you need to ask and check again what is dice, and you need to design the dashboard. Okay, some more important concept: roll up, drill down. It's total, the opposite word. In a particular visualization tool, we have the options to create hierarchical dimension. Just like we are creating a hierarchy between year, quarter, and month over here. During creation of dimensions, we need to create in this manner hierarchical dimensions. Over here on top of time dimension, we have created this hierarchy. In time dimension, just like this is our final report, or this is our final report, those are representing the same things. This is in list report, this is a 3D bar plot. If we just double click on top of the city, that year, then it should be drilled down to this report. Just 2013, all the quarters should be appeared. If we just double click on top of a single quarter, then again it will be splitted with this kind of month. The same thing over here too. This is called drill down approach. But the mandatory things, we should be having a hierarchical dimension. And the same thing we can go ahead with roll up part. We'll be rolling up. It's just like opposite to drill down. We have the lower granularity level in this manner, and we'll be rolling up over here. So anything, the feature we can include, then anything user can do at any time. They just have to tell, hey team, hey development team, please include the roll up and drill down feature on top of this dimension. Then you need to go ahead with this way. Okay, the visualization tool I have already mentioned. Those are the important visualization tools. Those are available in the market. Yeah, those are the all things as of now. But I'm not sure whether maybe you can lose interest on top of that. I'll be trying to have a hands-on part, maybe by Python. When we'll be learning Python, we'll be going at the hands-on part on top of this, especially on the ETL part. Okay. Yeah, you are telling something, Ramya?
Yeah, so I just want to ask if you are going to give any basics on the visualization tools like Tableau or something.
Yeah, actually the same thing. Actually, I do not have any license on top of that. I can
Okay.
have install. I mean, the trial version. Uh, I mean, for the system, the trial version is 30 days only. So at the beginning of the thing, I have already installed, and those trial versions has been completed for both Click and Tableau. For Power BI, I haven't installed Power BI at my system till now. Uh, but I'll be checking with the admin team as well. If they are quite interested, then I'll also include that thing in syllabus. But as of now, the visualization tool, I do not have the scope within this particular session. Okay, but I'll be trying. I'll be trying to include the same. I'll be asking the admin team if they have anything with handy, because they might have some license or just like this. Because the licensing cost is very high, we can use trial version, but it's very limited time.
Sure.
Okay,
Please try if possible. You said that you haven't tried the trial version for Power BI, right? So
correct,
if
correct.
possible, you can give some intro on the Power BI with the trial version.
Okay, okay. I'll be trying that thing. Uh, okay, maybe if this is not possible for this session, because this session I just have a timeline, just like 1.5 month, we need to cover up everything, or just like this. Uh,
Right.
and I need to also prepare the slides and all. A bit preparation is required from my side too. So if
Okay.
this is not possible within this session, definitely in the next session I'll be trying to introduce. I'm trying this thing. I'll be discussing with Lohit or any other from admin team member of Tetra Data.
Mm-hmm.
If this is a high demand, then we definitely need to include that thing as a part of data analytics.
Sure, sure.
But if let me check if this is possible in this session, then definitely we can do. If this is not possible in this session, we can include the same thing in next session, and we'll call you to join for that particular days when we'll be going to give the demonstration for uh, that particular Power BI. Okay, Power BI
Yeah,
desktop is
sure.
there. Generally, we need to develop the things at our desktop version, and when this is done, then we need to push the thing at the portal. When we'll be pushing the thing at the portal, the dashboard is visible to every public who is having the access to that portal. So we need to install the uh, thing at, I mean Power BI desktop. We need to install at our desktop. We need to create all those charts and graphs, and we need to push the same thing at the target. Target means the Power BI portal. Okay, okay. I'll be checking that thing, and I'll let you know.
Yeah, sure. One more thing, Sautik.
Yeah.
Okay, so can you tell us, like, we are new to this data analyst jobs and
Mm-hmm.
all. So if possible, can you tell us how the work will be in the companies, like what format the work will be given, and how should we start the work?
Yeah, correct.
Just to give an overview.
Yeah, correct, correct. So if you are
Like
joining as a new
I know you
resource,
are. Mhm. You are saying the SQL and BI and all everything, but I just want to know where we are going to use the SQL and are you getting what I'm
yeah,
asking?
yeah, 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 yeah. So just like I'm telling my experience, then that should be, I mean, easily. I mean, let me just stop the recording.
Yeah, sure.